bye week is over and the boys are back in town. That's right. Welcome to another episode of Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Noah Brady, joined alongside Adam Brown, and that's Dylan Simmons there on the end. We're excited to bring you another week of Conference USA football coverage. Adam, we're going to kick things off with you. Take us around the CUSA.
All right, Noah, first we're going to go to Western Kentucky to watch the Hilltoppers take on the Mean Green in what should be an offensive shootout. And then we're going to visit my adopted CUSA team, the FAU Owls, as they take on the UAB Blazers. Let's take a look.
All right, Raiders, I hope everyone is well rested coming off the bye week and ready to get into some Conference USA football action. Games of note today are North Texas at Western Kentucky and UAB at FAU. Let's look at some spreads. Western Kentucky is a 10-point favorite at home over North Texas in what should be an offensive show. WKU is coming off a close win against UAB, who has looked really impressive lately. However, the Western offense took a step back, only scoring 20 points last week. That, combined with North Texas looking to bounce back after playing UTSA close in a loss, means that this could be a sneaky cover pick. We know this Mean Green offense can keep up, but will they be able to do so on the road? Next up, we have UAB at FAU. The Blazers are a 5-point favorite on the road this week as they take on the Owls of FAU. The Owls are an interesting team because they have the offensive firepower to be competitive, as they average nearly 29 points per game, but have not been able to keep it all together this season and are sitting at 3-5. The Blazers are looking more and more solid with every passing week and are better than FAU in points per game, points allowed per game, total yards, and yards allowed. Unless you really value home field advantage, I'd look for UAB to cover here. But if you're looking for an outside long shot at an upset, maybe this is the week FAU puts it all together.
Should be interesting to see how those point spreads play out today.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see this Western Kentucky-North Texas game. I actually think Western's going to cover the spread. It's a 10-point spread,
Wow.
I know, but I really think that Austria, that offense, they're going to pull through. Give me Western in that 10-point spread. I really think they'll cover it.
Might be hinting towards your pick a little bit there, Simmons.
Perhaps.
Well, with the point spreads in mind, let's take a look at the rest of the matchups coming up around the CUSA. Stay tuned because we'll be back with more right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point here on True Blue TV. Let's see what Dylan Simmons has up his sleeve this week on the Big Blue Review.
Yeah, guys, we're going to be checking out MTSU hockey kicking the butts of Hotty Toddy, and we're also going to be seeing the latest on MTSU volleyball. Let's take a look. MTSU hockey is playing with a full-size Lay's chip on their shoulder right now, as they are coming off an emotional series against the Ole Miss Ice Rebels. The first game in the series took place on Friday, October 21st, and featured a defensive stonewall for both sides, until the second period. The teams would then trade blows before Ole Miss capitalized on power play chances to pull away with a 4-2 victory. Not to be outdone, MT came roaring back like Simba to Pride Rock as they made Ole Miss live up to its namesake by missing several shots thanks to a stout defense. Ryan Bobrow took over as goalie and did a tremendous job at swatting the puck away all night. Harvey Wrench proved handy as he had a 2-goal night and great defensive play. The Rowdy Raiders would win 7-4 and are currently second in their CHS division. Their next opponent is the Tennessee Ice Volunteers, who they are in the midst of the series with as we speak. Volleyball engaged in their own 100 miles of hate this past Sunday. The Blue Raiders went up to Bowling Green to take on the team that shall not be named, otherwise known as Western Kentucky. Unfortunately for MT, the Hilltoppers came in with a fury rivaling a grizzly bear, as they sent MTSU tumbling down the hill. WKU ended up scoring victories in the first 3 sets to sweep MTSU back to Murfreesboro. It was not all doom and gloom for the Raiders though, as Adri Rhoda shined like a plate after dawn as she led the team with a .346 hitting percentage. She also had 11 kills while playing a very nice power offense brand that puts the McDonald's brand to shame. Next up for the Raiders, they will host the Florida Atlantic Owls in the Old Gymnasium on Sunday.
Great to see hockey and volleyball being like Squidward and experiencing the thrill of sweet victory.
Not only that, Dylan, but a revenge sweep victory in dominant fashion with a 7-4 win from the hockey team.
Yes, sir.
A SpongeBob reference covering MTSU athletics.
Always.
I love it, Dylan.
Yes.
We're going to catch up next with TJ Myers this week on the Spotlight. Let's take a look.
German native Max Rauch found MTSU as his home for higher education and men's collegiate tennis. During his 5-year span, Max dominated the courts along with being the team captain of the Blue Raiders men's tennis team for 2 years. While Max was competing on the courts, he was also competing off the courts in the experimental vehicles program on campus. When Max wasn't on the courts grinding, he turned that grind to his studies, where he was double majoring in mathematics and aerospace technology, or working on one of the 3 experimental vehicles in the workshops. Max received the CUSA Commissioner's Honor Roll, CUSA Academic Medal, and ITA Academic Scholar Athlete Awards in 2017, 18, 19, and 20.
On the court, of course, grinding means gotta practice. Even if you hate to practice, you gotta do what you gotta do in order to become better. That's what I consider grind. Same in the classroom. I'm competitive everywhere, right?
Once Max's collegiate eligibility was up, he decided to turn the grind fully into his studies, where he decided to go to graduate school and get his master's degree in science and engineering management. Rauch also received the CUSA All-Academic Team Award in 2019 as an undergraduate and 2021 as a graduate.
We have people, Max included, like you said, he's a D1 athlete. He's got other things to do. He's one of our GAs. He's one of our great GAs. He helps us get the paperwork done, make sure that we are on track and that we're doing what we need to do.
In Murfreesboro, TJ Myers, Middle Tennessee News.
Thanks, TJ. On the other side of the break, we've got the scoop and the scouting report. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's saddle up our horse and ride into El Paso to see what Grant Langston has this week on The Scoop.
Joining me on The Scoop is Emmanuel Rivas Valenzuela. All right, Emmanuel, Tell me a little bit about the strengths and the weaknesses of this UTEP team.
Going into this season, a lot of people thought the passing game was going to be the strong suit of this offense. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Our quarterback, Gavin Hardison, has been just wildly inconsistent throughout. 9 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions. Honestly, looking at the games we have won are games that the team has relied on the run game mostly between running back Ronald Awatt and Deion Hanksons. They've been blowing this teams out of the water when they run.
And I want to circle back around to Gavin Hardison, the quarterback. He doesn't wear his last name on his jersey. He wears Laufenberg. Can you elaborate on why that is?
A few years back, we had a player by the name of Luke Laufenberg. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, and so that's something the team has done to honor his memory. All the players wear a Luke sticker on the back of their helmet, and each year that number is passed down to a player who shows leadership, who shows character. This year, that is Gavin Hardison, so that's why he wears Laufenberg as the name and the number 2 as well.
Any final thoughts going into this weekend?
I mean, the conference record, I don't think is very indicative of your team. Coach Dimmel earlier this week said you guys had a good athletic defense, and offensively, you've got some receivers that are definitely on this team's radar. And so you go into this game, you see the record, and you think one thing, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a good game, good matchup.
All right. Well, thank you, Emmanuel, for all your time. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Grant, for mining for that gold in El Paso.
It's always good to get the opposing side of things, but let's take it a step further as Ryan Martinelich takes us behind enemy lines with the scouting report.
The Miners of El Paso are coming into this matchup with a 4-4 record and are in the middle of the pack in conference standings. Both MTSU and UTEP like to throw the ball, and for the Miners, it starts with Gavin Hardison. While not the most accurate quarterback, completing only 52% of his passes, the junior QB is able to make throws when it's necessary, both inside and out of the pocket. He's also made plays with his legs and has been successful with quarterback keepers. Hardison has targeted 13 different receivers this season, but almost 60% of his completions belong to sophomore wide receiver Tyron Smith and senior running back Ronaldo Flores, who's been used mostly in the passing game this season. Smith has nearly 700 receiving yards to go along with 4 touchdowns, while Flores has over 500 total yards of offense, 440 coming from the air, and 3 total touchdowns. To complement the passing game, the Miners go to senior running back Ronald Awatt and sophomore running back Deion Hankins. Both backs combine for 970 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns and can be difficult to bring down. MTSU will have to look to their front 7 to shut down the Miners and put pressure on Hardison, who has thrown 4 interceptions in his last 2 games. Since the Miners don't score touchdowns at a high rate, they will look for their defensive playmakers to make a stand against MTSU's struggling offense. Linebacker Tyrese Knight and defensive end Jadrian Taylor are a force to be reckoned with. Knight is 4th in Conference USA in tackles at 64, while Taylor leads the team in sacks at 7, good for a tie for 3rd in the nation. Both players have combined to force 4 fumbles and return 2 of them for touchdowns. The Raiders' offensive line will need to keep those 2 away from Chase Cunningham if they want to have a chance at winning this game.
Thanks, Ryan, for that in-depth look at the Miners.
All right, Dylan, it's time for the keys. What does MTSU need to do to be successful on the road this week?
Yeah, let's kick it off right here. Let Irvin get swerving. I'm talking Joe Irvin, the new running back for MTSU. With Frank Peason out for an indefinite amount of time, it's going to be up to him to step up for MTSU. He only had 6 carries last week, but he adds a whole nother dimension to this MTSU offense. I think he can unlock Pandora's box. We know how important a running game can be to really balance out and make an offense dangerous. For my second key, turn down the thermostat. Guys, you know it is Halloween, right? And MTSU's secondary has been getting destroyed like Michael Myers in The Wood Chipper. Sorry for any spoilers. But they need to play with a purpose, and they need to play to prove something to UTEP. Gavin Hardison's a guy who's not going to sky the ball out on you. This is a great opportunity for MTSU to come out and play with something to prove and really improve the secondary moving forward. And my third key, control the narrative. Guys, we all know MTSU is facing a lot of turmoil, a lot of pressure, and a lot of backlash. What better way to go out and prove yourself than to go take out UTEP and play with those emotions and play with a chip on your shoulder and something to prove? This is a big moment for MTSU to prove they are a bowl-eligible team that is fighting for something.
A little passion, a little fire in that one there, Simmons. All right, Adam, what you got?
All right, guys, my first one sounds simple, but it's intentional. The first key is forced turnovers. This UTEP team, ball security has not been their friend. 9 picks, 15 fumbles. this opportunistic Middle Tennessee defense has got to take advantage. And then for my second key, I've got clean up the second half. Going into the locker room against WKU, we were down 14-10. That's not ideal, but it's still manageable. But then in the second half, we had the ball 7 times. Only 2 drives resulted in touchdowns, and one of those was to the other team. We can't have that. Which brings me right into my third key, which is finish drives. Throughout the whole game, we had the ball 17 times, 9 were punts, 2 were turnover on downs, and twice the half ended while the ball was in our possession, and 1 was a pick 6. That's 82% of our drives with no points. We cannot have that.
I like that, Adam. For me, my first key, sense of urgency. As Bon Jovi said, whoa, we're halfway there. If you're MTSU, you have 5 games left to do something with your season that's bigger and better than beating a very sluggish Miami Hurricanes team. And to be honest, the more often we see them play, the more football we see them play, the more sluggish they get and the less impressive that win gets.
They're really scary.
That's fact. It's right in time for Halloween,
Exactly.
right? My second key, you want fire, you go to the woods. What do you get out of the woods? You get the sticks. MTSU has to do a better job on the road this week of managing the chain game. That translates directly to smart play calling, playing with good pace, and not throwing screens. Please, can we get away from the inefficient screen game? My third key, eye of the tiger. Every game has to be treated like it's that Rocky Balboa Apollo Creed fight at the end of Rocky 1. We want that kind of fight with the second movie, the sequel's result. For MTSU, they have to play aggressive, they have to play desperate, and most importantly, guys, they have to play hungry. Those are our keys for the Blue Raiders to be efficient and effective on the road this week. We'll be back with more on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. It is our favorite part of the show, guys. It is time for the picks, and joining us here on the panel, we have Pavel Modal of MTSU Men's Tennis. Pavel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm excited, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get right into it. Dylan, we're going to start off with you. As always, Charlotte taking on Rice.
Yeah, guys, Charlotte is a special breed of awful right now. The 49ers should never get into archery because they never hit their target. They're coming off a game in which they got beat by FIU, a team that you guys, lest we forget, lost 73-0 in a college football game. I mean, you're talking about Chris Reynolds becoming LeBron James on the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers. He's trying to carry this team all by himself. I don't think that they've got what it takes, and as for Rice, they're actually somewhat good, which is hard to say. They're not bland anymore. They've shed the bland moniker. TJ McMahon had 208, 3 touchdowns, no picks last week. They are actually looking good. They are legit. I'm taking Rice in this one, guys.
That one sounded like it hurt.
It hurts so much.
Adam, what do you got?
Well, Dylan, I'm proud of you for admitting that, and as you should, because they're a 16.5-point favorite at home and well on their way to a bowl game. Charlotte's the worst team in America, and the only team they beat at this point in the season has more wins than they do, so I'm taking Rice.
Pavel, who are you taking in this one?
I'm going for Rice in this one. Even though I don't like them from the tennis courts, they are a nasty team. They are fighting for every point. But for this one, I gotta go with Rice.
Charlotte is sitting at 1-7, and I'll tell you exactly why. They are allowing 500 yards to the opposing team's offense on a consistent basis, guys.
Wow.
That's an average. That's not just a stat from last week. That is an average.
It's like a Big 12 defense.
Exactly. One of these teams is a contender. One is a pretender. I'll let you pick who it is. Give me Rice in this one. North Texas taking on WKU in Hilltopper country. Ugh.
Yeah, well, Mean Green, you blew it worse than Ross did when he was first trying to get with Rachel. I mean, you blew it on a last-second touchdown to UTSA. Now, we lost to UTSA too, but we didn't lose in that fashion. Very, very painful. You actually did keep Frank Harris somewhat contained. It looked pretty good, but Austin Aeneas 325 couldn't save them. And I think for Western, we saw what they did. They just beat a good UAB team. We saw what they did to MTSU. They've got talent. Austin Reed is pulling rabbits out of the hat all the way. I think that overall, they've got the overall better talent and the better team. Western wins in a tough way to say that, but yeah, Western wins.
Yeah, Dylan, I agree. They're a 10-point favorite at home, but this North Texas offense is one of the few in the country that can keep up with this Western air attack, and so I don't think Western covers that 10-point spread, but they do get the win.
Papa, what are you thinking?
You know, I saw the WKU team here at the Floyd Stadium a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't impress me at all. It was more like MTSU beat themselves than WKU won. So I will go for North Texas with this one.
You're going for the upset in this one. I'm going to have to jump on that bandwagon with you. I like this guy. I knew there was a reason we brought him on. I knew there was something there. Now, I will say that North Texas is trying to get to that 500 mark, or trying to get north of that 500 mark, I should say. But they are on the road this week. It's going to be tough. I think that North Texas' defense is going to be what wins this for them. Everybody's saying nobody can keep up with Western's offense. Well, maybe they won't have to if they can shut them down. North Texas defense shows up in this one. I like an upset in Hilltopper country. UAB on the road against Florida Atlantic.
I'm off the FAU hype train, guys. It's becoming worse to watch than season 7 to 8 of The Office. It's just so hard to watch.
Will Ferrell
right
was
now.
in that season.
Exactly. It was not good, all right? So N'Kosi Perry isn't being utilized in the way that he should be. I mean, hey, if he ever wants to come back down to South Beach and play with the Canes, we would love to have him.
Don't
he'd
ever
probably be
throw
a
up a U
upgrade.
on this show
That's
again,
besides the
please.
point. That's besides the point.
You've run out of U privileges.
Okay. Not going to happen again. But Larry McCannon only had 79 yards. They just lost to UTEP. That's a bad sign. That doesn't look good. And as for UAB, they're like the college football CUSA version of Florida. Are they good? Are they not? We don't really know. We still have to figure that out. They just lost Dylan Hopkins. Jacob Zeno only had 3 completions in the last game. I'm going to take UAB, but it's going to be a big one, a big toss-up.
Yeah, Dylan, I really loved this FAU offense early on, and I was on that hype train with you. I'm getting off too, and here's the biggest thing. You mentioned their inconsistency. This is an inconsistent FAU team against a very solid UAB team, and that's all I need to know. Give me UAB.
I'm going for UAB with this one too because, you know, I have a little bit of special connection with the UAB because there are a couple players on the tennis team from Czech Republic, from my home country. So I'm just gonna trust UAB just because I just don't like FAU.
Sometimes that tennis knowledge fares better against our football knowledge here with these picks.
We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get the win on that one. But I will say, you guys are all on that UAB train, and they've got a 65% chance of winning. Something's cooking over here on my clipboard.
You're not on the train.
I'm going to take Florida Atlantic in this one. N'Kosi Perry, he's closing in on 2,000 yards already this season. We're just over the halfway point. I really like what he's doing. His pocket presence, unmatched in the conference right now. I like Florida Atlantic in this one, guys, at home. MTSU on the road against UTEP. Primetime matchup, 8 o'clock in UTEP. What's MTSU faring like it, Dylan?
Yeah, that's right. And we're coming off a bye week and a game that we got embarrassed by our bitter rival. I mean, we're going through some adversity. On homecoming day. We all saw it. We all saw what happened. It's going through some adversity right now, but we've got to navigate the waters like Lewis and Clark did going through America. UTEP's coming off a big win themselves. They looked pretty good against FAU. Deion Hankins had 138 yards. MTSU is going to have a lot to prove this week with Chase Cunningham, Zaylen Wood, a lot of players looking to step up. And sometimes, guys, you're in a bit of a mess. You need a way to clean things up. I think MTSU just needs a toothbrush. Maybe that's all you need sometimes. Got a little Colgate Total in there, put the toothpaste on. So I'm going to say that MTSU wins this one 27-21 at home. Give me the Blue Raiders.
He did pick MTSU in case you didn't hear
Remember,
that
everyone, oral hygiene.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pick after he just brushed his teeth on camera, but let's take it back to the basics. We're going to look at the point spread. UTEP is only a 1.5 point favorite at home. That's not much faith from Vegas, and I'm right there with them. This is a UTEP team that is -5 in turnover margin on the season, guys, with a very opportunistic Blue Raider defense, and I think our defense gets us the win.
Pop, you're already repping the Big Blue Nation with the t-shirt on today.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go against them.
Exactly. You just cannot go against your Blue Raiders. So I'm going to trust them, and I always trust them. Remember that win against Miami? I mean, it was impressive. I know it was a couple weeks ago, but hey, still, the guys did it. They know what it takes to beat a good team away, and they're going to do it on Saturday.
Dylan was brushing his eyes after that Miami
Oh gosh, don't even get me
He
started.
was, yes. The Miners, like you guys talked about, only a 1.5 point favorite in this one. A safety beats that margin, and a field goal doubles it. So I mean, I'm really liking what MTSU, their chances on the road this week. I think their defense has to show up and be that explosive kind of defense and create those turnovers, widen that turnover margin, shut down that UTEP crowd, especially in a nighttime game. They're going to be packed in there. It's going to be a great game, but I do think MTSU walks away with a field goal lead, and that's how they win it.
Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter for all your Blue Raider coverage and more.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. But Pavel, before we let you go, we got to ask you a couple questions. Dylan, what you got?
Yes, so my first question, I've been covering you guys since last year. Love the team, obviously a great team. And speaking of great, you've had an awesome fall 2022 season so far. Some may say spectacular. How are you guys looking to carry that over, especially going into spring?
I wouldn't say spectacular. You know, there were some great results. For example, Francisco and Oscar at the All-American tournaments, you know, they were this close from beating the #1 team in the country in doubles. They had a couple match points, so it was impressive. And we had some other guys that, you know, got some very good wins. Some guys are still, you know, trying to figure out what the college tennis is about. So because we have, you know, 3 new freshmen on the team, so it's not always easy to, you know, let them do their best on the first semester, but we are trying our best to, you know, try to explain them how the college tennis works and what it takes to be the top 15 team in the country.
Like it.
You guys have a great culture over there, and you mentioned those 3 freshmen.
Yeah.
With 2 key players being lost last season, what's the confidence level? You know, you're asking those 3 new freshmen to really step up and kind of fill those roles.
Yeah, you know, it's never easy to, you know, recruit well and then make sure that, you know, you get a good players, but you also need to make sure that, you know, you have a good guys that have a character and stuff like this. So it's never easy to replace the starters, especially when you have a Chris Edge on the team who is just one of a kind. This guy is just amazing. And we had Stepan Hollis as well, who was winning a lot. We called him the silencer because he just kept winning and he just silenced the crowd and the opponents. So it was amazing. So now we have another great guys. We have Marcel Kamrowski from Poland, who is a very good player. We have my buddy from Czech Republic, Ondrej Horak, and we have a guy from Japan, Shu Matsuoka. All 3 of them extremely talented kids. They are a little bit younger than especially me, but younger than other guys on the team. So, you know, we need to make sure that they understand how the college environment works and make sure that we build that culture that we had last year and try to transfer it on the court and just try our best to get those W's.
Well, Pablo, it was fantastic having you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much, guys. I enjoyed it all. It was great.
Appreciate it. Good luck to you in the spring season.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on another episode of Blue Raider Extra Point.
If you missed this or any other episode, you can check it out on MiddleTennesseeNews.net and hit the sports tab.
Be sure to follow us at MTN Sports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
So, you pulled a toothbrush out of your pocket.
Toothbrush.
And you didn't even use
Colgate.
Crest. You got the 99-cent brand.
Colgate Cavity Protection, the best in oral treatment. I mean, hey, you want this bottle of Colgate?
Do you have an NIL deal with Colgate? What is happening right now?
I mean, I don't know if sports broadcasters have NIL deals, but if they did, I would absolutely have one with Colgate.
They definitely have sponsorships.
If I ever get on like Fox and ESPN, Colgate, I want you to sponsor me because I love your brand. It's great. It's awesome. Brushes your teeth.
What's going on is real.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let
you go.